Welcome back to This Is Not CBC.
Let's talk about what used to be common sense in Canada. The idea that the news media had a legal duty to tell the truth. You'd think if you publish a lie as news, you're breaking the law. Well, not anymore. Back in the day, there was this provision of the Criminal Code of Canada, namely Section 181 of the Criminal Code, that made it a crime to publish a statement, tale, or news that the person knows is false and that causes or is likely to cause injury or mischief to the public interest. But then in December 1991, the Supreme Court of Canada declared that Section 181 was unconstitutional, meaning the government no longer had the criminal law tool to stop lies masquerading as news. Essentially, Canada said, yeah, lies in the news, let's allow that. The court held that even knowingly false statements are expression protected by the Section 2B of the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms. Let's pause and absorb that. A law making it illegal to publish lies in the news existed, and then it was struck down. So now, if you publish a dud of a story, distort facts, omit key information, you're not breaking that particular crime. You're just, well, I don't know, doing journalism? Now, I'm about to show you a video. And in this video, they say that the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation didn't simply err with COVID 19 coverage. They allegedly withheld information Canadians needed to make informed medical decisions.
I started noticing that something very different was happening at the CBC.
Who were we to deliberately withhold information the public needed to know and had a right to know in order to make a decision based on informed consent about their health?
They took an exceptional moment to decide that they would not be journalists, that they would instead be public health messengers. And the result is that Canada's national broadcaster has morphed into a state broadcaster. It's promoting government policy without question, while censoring, belittling, and shaming learned Canadians who dare to object and attempt to inform us of the truth.
Canadians were starting to see this, and they were calling us out on it. All of a sudden, the term anti-vaxxer came up.
That's because this was not news gathering, it was propaganda.
And to define propaganda, it's information, ideas, opinions, or images that give one part of an argument, which are broadcast, published, in order to influence a person's opinion.
Bad journalism is incompetence, but propaganda is a betrayal.
We were clearly pushing propaganda.
And we expect them to tell us the truth because they've done it for 50 or 60 years.
And I was disturbed and alarmed about the language that was being used in some of our editorial meetings. The CBC was still demonizing the unvaccinated as a danger to public safety. CBC is not impartial. It is not independent. How could you ignore this?
And that's what CBC has done. It's betrayed us all.
Will we get the CBC, our public broadcaster, back? I don't know. But I do know that more journalists need to stand up, speak out, and stand firm as a truth teller.
You guys, that isn't journalism. That is propaganda. No, you know what? Scratch that. Propaganda is still polite in tone. This is betrayal. They demonize the unvaccinated. They ran messaging designed to enforce one side of the argument. They weaponized the term anti-vaxxer, not to inform Canadians, but to shut them up, to prevent scrutiny, to silence one side of the disclosure instead of presenting facts. That's not balanced journalism. There was no debate, no real transparency. Because let's be clear, bad journalism isn't merely incompetence. It's a betrayal of public trust. Meanwhile, Canadians pay for this with our taxes, with our public broadcaster funding, with our license fees. The CBC is supposed to serve us. Instead, it became a mouthpiece, a public health messaging arm of the state. Rather than an independent press, they knew what they were doing. So let's be blunt. CBC is not impartial. It is not independent. It crossed a line. So here's the question, and I'm asking you, the viewer, not the anchor. Will Canadians ever get their public broadcaster back? Or Did CBC cross a line it cannot come back from? Thanks for watching.